Welcome, everybody, to another great episode of the Alford Sports Talk Show. We got a fantastic show for you, but today we're going to get started with thanking our wonderful sponsor, Chef G's Florida Barbecue Sauce. So delicious and addicting, you may need a support group. Please feel free to pick up any one of the 4 great flavors: classic, fusion, honey mustard, and of course, heat wave, all at flbbqsauce.com, flbbqsauce.com. And if you're even more ambitious, please go ahead and visit Chef G's right here in Tampa at 301 South 22nd Street. Let them know that the Alford Sports Talk Show sent you. Thank you for watching today's great episode, and thank you so much for being a great supporter of our show. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to another great episode of the Alford Sports Talk Show, joined by a fantastic guest. His name is Shawn Harper, former NFL player, 2-time author, best-selling author as well, and also motivational speaker. So want to start with that. How you been so far?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Alford Sports Talk Show. So it all started from the NFL career. At what point did you say to yourself, you know what, I want to be an NFL player?
You know what? It actually is interesting. It was always a goal. It was always a dream of mine. There's a difference to pull something from an actual dream into an actual goal, right? You can dream all day, and that's, this is where I'm going. The NFL, that's where I'm going, write the vision down and make it plain, right? And then probably my junior year in college, one of my fraternity brothers walked up to me and said, "Man, I got this feeling that you're going to go pro, man." I'm like, "What?" And it's just crazy how your thoughts and your mindset can lead to creation, but once it gets into your heart, it turns into what's called manifestation, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely put the hard work in. I know a lot of players, they always reach out to me to make it to the NFL. What was that feeling like when your name was called up on that stage?
It was very interesting because I had an inkling, had a really good agent, had a great agent. And he said, "Okay, this is what we're looking at. Maybe the Saints are interested in you, 3rd round or whatever." And so, draft day, you literally don't know, unless you're like a lock top 10 pick. You don't know. You don't know, you don't know what's going to happen. And so I'm sitting there and I get a phone call from the Rams. You're like, "We're about to take you. Are you ready?" I'm like, "Okay, let's go." And I promise you that conversation lasted for about 30 seconds. And he said, "I got Harper on the phone. Let's go." He hung up the phone. It's like, boom, you're drafted. And I did the funniest thing. I looked at my friend because I was going to have a huge party, right? So I just looked at my friend. He's like a lifelong friend. And of all places, we went to Red Lobster, right? So it's like, that was my celebration. I'm going to go to Red Lobster. And I went to Red Lobster, and we sat down, ate a great meal, and that call changed my life, changed the trajectory.
Yeah, that's an amazing time of your life. And making it to the NFL was, you mentioned, I've seen in a couple of videos where it was tough when you was in the NFL because you had to fight every single day just to make it to the roster. So tell people about that experience about, hey, when you make it to the NFL, it's not over. You have to continue to fight to stay in the NFL.
Right. When you make it to the NFL, first of all, the NFL is an amazing business in the facade of a sport. You think it's a sport, it looks like it's all business, and it is very ruthless. It's very cunning, extremely competitive. So every moment of the day, you are being evaluated. The moment you step on that field, you are being evaluated. And I will take a seasoned NFL scout and I'll put him or her up against any psychiatrist in the world, because an NFL scout can watch you in practice, watch your drills, watch your body language, and tell you what you had for breakfast, because their job is to produce winners and to evaluate winners all day, every day. And so every practice, every play is under severe scrutiny. And it's interesting because I've kind of adopted the same philosophy now as a business owner. I mean, I just started it today. When we would play football, like 90% of all NFL teams are off, on the same days, like Monday, Tuesday. Those, we have those days off. And if you hang around the locker room long enough, probably around mid-afternoon on Monday, you'll see boatloads of people flying in to work out, and they're working out for your job, and the coaches are there and they're time in people's 40s, and promise you it happens about 4 or 5 times every team, every year. Player comes in, leaves their nice house and drive up in a nice little fancy, Bugatti, Benz, and they'll walk into, and I'll watch it. And then these guys walk into the locker room, and they'll see a little slip. Says, coach wants to see you. Bring your playbook now. Bring your iPad. It's over. Just like that. Just is that competitive. I've seen guys who had a great games come in on Wednesday get cut.
So as a player, how do you deal with that monotonous, hey, someone's always after my job, someone's always evaluating me? What did you do mentally to say, you know what, I need to block this out and focus on the job?
So I think, to be really fair, I want to answer that 2 ways. Looking on it back then, it's extremely stressful. One of my mottos is, do thy duty that is best, leave unto the Lord the rest. Do thy duty that is best, leave unto the Lord the rest. Looking back on it now, some years later, hindsight 2020, I should have had more of a apocalyptic mindset. And what I mean by that is, one day, Shawn Harper, this train is going to end. So you have to prepare for the inevitability that it's going to be over one day. So how are you preparing your network? How are you preparing just life and decisions? I mean, the people that I've met playing professional football is absolutely just extraordinary. To be in contact with CEOs of Fortune 500, to have the CEO of a Fortune 100 company on speed dial, like that, you'll never have those contacts again. So I think I would have did a better job networking, talking to people, knowing that I know the CEO of this Fortune 500 company. We were hanging out, laughing together, being able to understand and to be in different circles of stars. I mean, there are stars. If I told you who these individuals were, you were like, oh, I know that person. I went to their parties, but I didn't have the foresight to properly network with these individuals. Major super producers and stars. I know them. I knew them.
Yeah. So definitely networking sounds like it's a big part. And now you use those network skills to get yourself to becoming a motivational speaker. How has that transition been?
That has been absolutely awesome. One of the things I've learned in business that has really helped me is that the riches are in the niches. So there's not a lot of NFL speakers. There's not a lot of NFL speakers that brings certain transformational tactics, methodologies, and strategies to corporate America. There's not a lot out there. So I've learned to have, to create the niches so that I could have the riches. And I've learned that just by playing sports. I mean, imagine years ago, I think it was the Chicago Bears, and they came out with the 46. Remember the 46 Bear defense? That's the first year. It freaked everybody out. They're successful. Bill Walsh, West Coast offense. Like, what is that? What is that? So you have to, be unique and then blow it out the window.
Yeah, so that's great advice. And you have the culture now, the culture of Winologist. Talk about the culture of Winologist to people.
It was interesting. Once I retired, I would start getting these emails, basically in a really nice way. You're retired now. It's time for you to become corporate. It's time for you to have the corporate mindset, right? Think corporate. Use terms like best practices and, all those corporate lingos that I know. I said, wait a second, 0.02% of any person makes it to the NFL for 1 year. 0.02% makes it for 1 year. And coupled with the fact that I studied the greatest players that played the game. Jerome Bettis was on the Rams. I know Jerome. I studied him. Marshall Faulk. I studied Marshall Faulk. Zach Crockett was my roommate. Tim Lester. Jackie Slater. I played behind Jackie Slater. Bruce Matthews. These are all pros, and I studied them. I watched them, and I watched what they did that was different. And I said, well, wait a second. You're not going to teach me how to become you. I'm going to teach you what I learned, and then I'm going to merge it into corporate America. I'm going to bring that winning mindset into corporate America, because corporate America, they're geared towards success, but success is a man-made construct. When you get to a certain level in corporate America, your C-suites, okay, they don't think about success. They're already successful. They think about winning. So what's on a C-suite's mind? Make our numbers. What is that? It's either win or lose. When you do a corporate, when the corporate comes out with the earnings report, either you missed the numbers or you made the numbers. It's win or lose. A guy like Mark Cuban is already successful. He wants to win. So I'm bringing that winning mindset, merging it into corporate. And it's been a challenge for me with my own company, because I move at a certain level that, sometimes I kind of slow down, and it just keeps me up at night, because I'm like, I'm used to moving at a certain speed. And, in my office, somehow it'll just slow me down, and I'll even get passive, I'm like, what? But then every once in a while I'll wake up, I'm like, nah, I'm that dog. Let's go. Let's go. Let's win. So right now I'm that dog. Let's go. Let's win mode. So I plan on staying here. I know I'm going to run some people off, but I'm like, hey, it's all right. Let's go.
Yeah, in fact, that brings up that what type of business you have now to help you that people can support you with.
I have two. I have a security firm located in Columbus, Ohio. We have unarmed and armed security officers. We do very little executive work, but a lot of it is unarmed and armed officers. And that will soon be expanding throughout all of Ohio. I'm plotting on that right now. I'm looking for individuals that can kind of anchor it and maybe give them a little larger cut of the pie or earning share. And then I travel as a speaker. I am an inspirational and motivational speaker. I teach, I coach, I motivate people how to win. And what I'm doing now is, on top of that, is I'm coaching people through trauma. It is really interesting, because 90% of all motivational speakers, they teach you how to get to, okay? But there's not a lot in our culture that teaches you how to go through. And I went through a lot of losses, I don't know, 4 or 5 people in the last 6 or 7 years. And it's like, getting through that is tough. And I'm noticing that whenever there's a loss, there's a process you have to go through. And our culture doesn't teach us how to go through that process.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people get stuck in the process. They get stuck in the past. There's a loss of a job. There's a loss of a career. There's a loss of an opportunity. You have to go through the mourning process to make it out the other side whole. If not, you'll get stuck in the process, and you will begin to manifest the failures and losses all the way through. It'll shift you. I know certain athletes who went through a major loss, and they were never the same. They were never the same. Some of the best athletes in the world. They go through a death, they go through a divorce, and they're never the same, because they don't know how to go through the process. So I'm teaching people how to do that.
Yeah. What advice can you give people? You're right. We all have met somebody who gets stuck. Something that's happened in the past. They can't kind of like move past that trauma, that hurt, that pain, disappointment.
Yeah.
What advice do you give to those people that, hey, it happened in the past, but life does go on?
One of my mottos is that if you live in the past, you'll die in the present. If you live in the past, you'll die in the present, period. And I'm extremely mindful, because I listen. I've learned to listen to people, and I listen to body language. I listen to everything that they say and that they don't say. And it has helped me out tremendously. But the key word there is, if you live in the past, you'll die in the present. I think it's important that we revisit the past. Just don't live there. Revisit the past and walk through that process. Walk through that grieving, mourning process. I mean, I say this, and I'm not ashamed. I'm a Christian. I love God, period. Okay. And I'm not ashamed of that. And I know people might, but when you look at the Bible, over and over and over again, I had to mourn for 30 days. I mourned. It's there. It's everywhere. Mourning is a part of the process. And if you don't complete that process, if you don't have that conversation with the individual, whatever, then you'll get stuck in a loop and it will hold you there. And if you're not careful, you'll begin to manifest the same thing over and over again. True story. My son, and boy, I tell you, I love my boy, love him. That is my boy. One of his favorite aunts died. It was years ago. And right after that happened, things started to break around him. There was an incompleteness there. I recognized that, and I was able to sit down and say, okay, we need to have a conversation, and you need to walk through that entire process. And then he was able to move past that, and then they keep going and keep growing. A lot of us are stuck. We're stuck with divorced parents. Now we don't trust. I mean, there's a lot of grieving, and we need to complete that, especially with athletes.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. That's some beautiful advice. And I know some of the players that meet me, they're going to want me to ask you this. As an offensive lineman, what advice can you give to them that are trying to make it to that next level?
What advice would I give to an inspiring offensive lineman or player trying to get to the next level and get drafted?
Yeah.
Interesting. My advice to them would be to live in the 212. And you know the story of water being water at 211 degrees, and at 212 degrees water boils, right? Well, boiling water has changed the world 1 degree. So, and I actually learned this from a guy named Jackie Slater. He played like 20 years, all pro, right? And he would make me go outside every day at 2:45 with him. Practice started at 3:10. Why am I out here holding this bag with this all-pro offensive tackle at 2:45? Well, he's doing the same rudimentary moves, this, and he's jumping through the cones, but everyone else is in the locker room. Jackie's on the field, 20 years, all pro. He's on the field training. That's living in the 212. And you expect to be extraordinary doing the ordinary. You got to have extra in that ordinary to equal the extraordinary. So guess what? You got to do a little bit more. You got to just get into that 1% more each and every day. And if you live a life like that, pushing yourself into excellence, which I'm kind of like learning how to do now, man, that's how you get there, because they're always looking for something different. They're always looking for something that stands out. You got to stand out. Winners learn to stand out. When we're younger, they teach us conformity, right? They teach us sit in a line, wear the same uniform, blah, blah, blah. But when we're older, we praise people who are different. Embrace it. Learn to stand out and train when everyone else is sleeping.
That's awesome. And then people can definitely pick up your book, The Winning Edge.
Yeah, man. You can get The Winning Edge off of Amazon. I got the Winologist out there. I don't promote that much. I heard it was even better than the other book, but I got the Winologist out there as well. And then I'm working on an entire curriculum for, doing the whole grieving process. And then I have a course out there called Winning by Design. And you can get a hold of that if you go to my Facebook group. I have a Facebook group called Winning by Design. You can become a member there, and there's a lot of interaction there and stuff like that. So yeah.
And people can reach out to you also for motivational speaking as well.
Yeah, so you can go to Shawn Harper Wins, ShawnHarperWins.com. There's a place where you can contact me on there as well. And what I'll do is this, if you are a aspiring athlete, whatever, you just, you just want to talk about some things or whatever, it's really a mind freak to train since the second grade. Like I was training in football since the second grade, right? And everyone's like, you're this, you're going to be the man, you're amazing. In high school, everyone loves you, and then one day it's over. I mean, it doesn't even slow down. One day it stops, or you're playing at the collegiate level, and one day it's over. Now, you've been you've been training since you're like second grade. Everyone knows you as the athlete. Everyone wanted to be around you. All the groupies loved you. And then one day it's over. And then at the professional level, it's even worse. How do you manage that? I still have football dreams. To this day, I have dreams. That's 20 something years later. Like, how do you navigate that? That's tough. These are things that people don't talk about, and if you're out there and you're struggling, man, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna talk to you every single time, but just give me a call. We'll set up some time where, and let's kind of walk through that process.
Awesome. And also they can follow you on social media too.
Oh yeah, just Shawn Harper Speaker Instagram. It's under Aaron Shawn Harper on Facebook. Yeah, we'll just stick with those two right now.
Yeah, definitely will make sure that follow you on all social media platforms. That's amazing. This is an awesome time. We'll make sure that we support those books too.
Yeah. All day.
I love the background, the Colts. I see that.
Oh yeah. I love that too. It's a nice little stadium.
And if people need security work too, they can find you as well in Ohio.
Yeah. Where are you out of?
I'm right here in Tampa, Florida.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So let's talk afterwards, okay? Because I really kind of like Tampa. I really like Tampa.
We'll do that. I appreciate you joining us on the Alford Sports Talk Show. Thank you so much, Shawn Harper.
Yes, sir. Be blessed.
Be blessed too.